I'll do that.
Asha, Meenakshi Kuswaha said waiting.
I think it would be nice if we put back what
The
I think
music,
has been
yeah.
created by Asha, because it gives a clear picture of ma'am's date of birth and so on.
Yeah.
So Asha, could you put back your...
Ankit, can you put the poster again back? The first picture which you showed. Yeah.
So that's 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Ankit, you'll make it live on YouTube, no? Hello? Ankit?
Gone live or not, Sudha?
Okay. Should we start?
Please.
Okay. Namaskar. It is said, notable people do notable things, for they take notice of the unnoticed. They think beyond our thinking. They look beyond what we all look. They try, fail, and try again. They dare unrelentingly. Today, as I speak in front of you, the moment demands to converse on abundance of grace of an iconic educationist of modern India, of an alluring personality whom we have known for years. A personality who recreated history, the numerous remarkable interludes of her lifespan, which has left an imperishable mark, glory, and fame. Padma Shri Dr. Rajni Kumar, an educator par excellence who has embarked upon a divine journey, has left behind an invaluable legacy of human virtues. Never have we ever felt a vacuum as deep as we feel now. Reading through her life is synonymous to understanding the journey of education in India. As we nostalgically recollect the memoirs, we see the seeds of progressive highlights of national education policy like holistic growth, creativity, collaboration, multilingualism, and humanization of education, which were integrally embedded in her thoughts and actions long before. This indirectly states that she was ahead of her times. Ma'am had made milestones which I'm sure had been tenets for us educators. At the same time, we remember those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day, unseen, unheard, but always near, still loved, still missed, and very dear. To the well organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. Those we love and lose are always connected by heartstrings into infinity. As we pay our respect to Dr. Rajni Kumar, may I request Amita ma'am to take forward this ode to our star educator. Amita ma'am.
Thank you very much, Sudha, for those warm words. Let us maintain 2 minutes of silence in the memory of our deeply loved mentor, guide, and pole star, Dr. Rajni Kumar. Dear friends, we have all come together on behalf of the NPSC, the National Progressive Schools Conference, to remember Dr. Rajni Kumar, who had a very special place in the hearts of everyone assembled here and those who are listening. She left this world on 10th November 2022. She raged and raged against the falling light and did not go gently into that night. A testimony of her strength, spirit, and the long, fruitful life that she led. The first time that I met her was 22 years ago. I can never forget her role in shaping and molding my career. She was my mentor and guide, someone who taught me everything I know about aspects of life and learning. She symbolized love and laughter and life, and was an inspiration to thousands of her students, teachers, and friends across the globe. She had deep faith and believed in the innate goodness of people, a unique understanding of education and empathy with the feelings and desires of the young. She knew how to evaluate objectively, to encourage but not to allow favor, and inculcate a love of community. She was someone who lived way beyond her times. She came into the educational field when there was a few standardized schools, either missionary or indigenous. She brought in a completely new wave of learning. The whole idea was having the holistic education with regional, national, and international connections, community development and understanding of languages, emphasis on performing arts, indigenous cultures. In fact, there were many firsts to her name, from starting a scholarship section to sending albums to commissions abroad. She to becoming a part of the anti-apartheid movement. In fact, wherever she felt that justice was compromised, she ensured that every Springdalian raised their voice to bring equity and understanding into the system. A friend of statesmen, presidents, prime ministers, political and social activists, she was certainly a woman for all seasons. Her school was a model to the right to education because she had bringing in the poor from the mid-70s and giving them integrated, inclusive education. She held innumerable leadership roles. She led delegations across the world and India, was the chairman of the Lady Irving College. She was a member of a variety of policy-making committees. During her tenure, Springdales could be seen everywhere, in Republic Day parades, Asian Games, singing in embassies and commissions, working extensively in the communities for the literacy mission, ensuring the poor and marginalized were heard. As her principal, she gave me complete access and freedom to develop into who I am today. Her ever-smiling face, the twinkle in her eyes, her warm embrace, and the connect that she had with everyone's family and friends endeared her to one and all. I can never forget her winking at me throughout the interview for the principalship of Springdales, as though the questions being asked did not hold much to her, because she'd already made up her mind that she was going to make me a part of her life. Her life was a beautiful canvas that can never be replicated. You, my dear one, are now everywhere, where we are, and will remain in our hearts forever. Her passing away was not sudden, but when it happened, I could not believe that she's no more. She left behind a legacy, which is and will remain alive in all those whose lives she touched. This evening, there will be some renderings from different sources, which will reflect some of the aspects of her personality. There will be tributes from some of the NPSC Life members and principals. I request Mrs. Usha Chopra, Chairperson, New Era Schools, who had a very long association and a dear friendship with Mrs. Kumar, to share her remembrances. Mrs. Usha Chopra. Vandana, is Mom going to talk? Could you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, I know she's going to talk, but the last I heard was that there was some problem in her communication system and she was not able to hear anything. So I have sent a message to her assistant and she's trying to resolve the issue. If you'd like to carry on, maybe you come back to her.
I will. So you just let us know through your message.
Will. Yeah.
Right? Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am, Mr. Anurag Tripathi has joined our meeting.
Right. So I will wait because the others are coming in and these are people who worked with Mrs. Kumar for a very long time.
Yeah.
I now request Mrs. Suman Kumar, Director and former Principal Bluebell School, whose mother was a dear friend of Mrs. Kumar, and how Suman shared her childhood, to say a few words in the memory of the great lady. Mrs. Suman Kumar.
Thank you, Amita. Well, to all, she was the dynamic, progressive, liberal, and outstanding educator, a futuristic visionary far ahead of her times. But to me, she was auntie, and will remain auntie who called me her second daughter, and I grew up from the age of 10, seeing her as a part of my family. I remember Joe and myself spending almost every weekend in each other's homes, as on all Sunday mornings, Auntie with her group of friends met at the famous United Coffee House in Connaught Place, which became a hotbed of political discussions and resulted in discovering and strengthening friendships which lasted a lifetime. The coffee house meetings became a Sunday tradition, and our childhood memories were indeed inundated with her showering us with love, affection, and a lot of pampering. The unconscious learning at every step shaped our personalities, and I learned from her to be irrepressibly optimistic and positive, to take life's ups and downs with fortitude and determination. In my moments of difficulty, when I went to her for some advice, she would respond with her favorite lines, "Ke sara sara," which was a simple philosophy and had the magic of lifting your soul. Commitment to a cause with an undying passion was in her DNA. It flowed in her veins as she strove till the end to transform the human mind, inspiring all to stand up for one's beliefs, failing which, according to her, all education is meaningless and redundant. She loved interacting and listening to young minds and reminded us all educators of the Herculean responsibility we shoulder with these impressionable children in our custody. As a young principal then, her guidance to me was invaluable. And with our endless interactions, she constantly reiterated that running a school was a routine, but institution building was beyond the prosaic textbook and examination curriculum. The vibrations of life had to enter the classrooms to expose their minds to social issues, for them to become independent, critical thinkers, and take the lead to become the catalysts of change. It was crucial to preserve the civilizational ethos of India's diversity, and further, to think beyond the narrow confines to become the citizens of the world. Her love for animals, and particularly for dogs, was almost childlike, and we shared that beautiful interest. And when I told her that my golden retriever was going to give pups, she wanted to keep one pup. So she couldn't climb the stairs, and I brought both the pups down to choose for her to choose from. She was so excited and ecstatic and asked, could she keep both? So I told her in a joke she could keep all 9 since she had the space, and she gave that fantastic winked smile. Magnanimous and ever helpful, she treasured relationships, enjoyed time with friends and family, and impacted each one of us with her genuine love for all, bringing out the best in each one of us. I sometimes think that she was the creator's very special design. I think these must have been the emotions experienced by everyone who knew her, because that was her personality, a persona to live life to the fullest with meaning and purpose, and reach out to all those, particularly the needy and the poor. It seems like an end of an era. It's not only a personal loss for me, but a loss to posterity who will not know or see the altruistic generation who worked so tirelessly and selflessly to leave behind an invaluable legacy. Perhaps all our students will be the torchbearers to begin a new struggle to build a new India, built on Gandhi's values of truth, honesty, love, and peace. That will be our real tribute to her. Finally, I'm reminded of Mark Antony's beautiful lines. His life was gentle in elements so mixed in him that nature might stand up and say to all the world, this was the man. This indeed was Nancy Jones Rajni Kumar, my auntie. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Suman. If Mrs. Usha Chopra is ready to come on, we can ask her to come on, Vandana. If not, I will proceed. The little space within the heart is as great as the vast universe. The heavens and the earth, the sun and the moon and the stars, the fire and the lightning and the winds are there. And now is all that now is, for the whole universe dwells within our hearts. These lines are from the Chandogya Upanishad. I now request Mr. S.L. Jain, Director and former Principal, Mahavir Senior Model School, Life Member, NPSC, and former Chairman, NPSC, who had a very long professional and personal relationship with Mrs. Kumar. She was his mentor and colleague. I request Mr. Jain to say a few words.
Thank you, Amita. I think Mrs. Kumar was the greatest, and she maintained the highest standards of life. I have known her for the last over 50 years when I joined Delhi Public School in 1970. She knew ABC to XYZ of education. Every minor detail, every micro level detail, she was familiar with, and she could discuss everything about education, about care of children, about school administration, about teacher training, about curriculum, about assessment, and everything. She was very, very generous and belonged to the ground. Wherever opportunities came, she went, she met. She never had any ego hassles. And therefore, you see, she came to my school a number of times. And when I got National Award, Amita ji and Dr. Rajni Kumar also came along. Her expression, her hearty laughters, I really liked. And then she would run. She would say, okay, she would hold my hand and run, come. She would be, she had so much of energy in her, and so much of, you see, fearlessness. I remember an incident when we were having a meeting with the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, Najib Jung. And Najib Jung was towing the government's line with regard to fees and certain other matters with regard to admission policy. And she very fearlessly faced him that if you want to destroy the schools, go ahead with your policy. At which Najib Jung got very angry, and he said, I have noted and this and that, because Ms. Rajni Kumar spoke in a bit of a louder voice, and to which Mrs. Amita Mullah Vatal, she had to intervene and tell her, but still Mrs. Kumar was so fearless and she made her point known to that. Formation of NPSC Action Committee, she was the key figure. Without her, NPSC could not have been built in 1973. So when Mr. Deen Dayal and others, they used to be there, and I would do some clerical work or other work. So I knew her role in the formation of the NPSC. Similarly, when Action Committee was made in 1997, so I contacted her and she was all for it. And she gave her blessings, and all through in all the meetings which were held at Pal Bharti School, Springdale School, and elsewhere, she would always be there. She not only gave her blessings, but also her most valuable guidance, being a mentor for all of us. She started the twinning program, in which the government schools and our public schools, we would come together and our resources will be available to the government school, and the government school teachers would come to us and all that. With regard to free ship and EWS, before this scheme came and started by the government, Mrs. Kumar started this in her own school. So she had a heart for the poor, and she always wanted that a lot and more should be done for poor. So I think I can say she was a queen, and she was a guide and a philosopher for all of us. Padma Shri, when that party was held in her school, she was taking care of us. What are we eating, what, why, and all sort of things. Very informal kind of a party. There were no speeches, and I remember her singing songs out there. So for me, it has been such a personal loss, because I would anytime bank on her. And when she had her knee replacements, I went to her farmhouse, and Mr. Suraj Prakash and myself, we were sitting here. And you see, the days are, you see, we are losing all our friends. We lost Mr. T.R. Gupta, we lost Mr. Suraj Prakash, Mr. Bhattacharya recently. So all these joints, legends, and such great educationists are going on. And now Mrs. Kumar is no more with us. So we feel as if we are orphaned. So, but her legacy and her teachings and her style of working is all with us. And I think we should carry on that legacy, that work all through, and our educational institutions must grow. Our public schools must grow, private venture in education must grow. And her example of starting the school with very few students in a rented building, I'm told that she started only with 3 students, and like that, and then how she was able to build and expand so many schools, and where thousands of children are getting education, and how she influenced the education policy of India. So with these words, I pay my tribute from the core of my heart for that great lady. and I believe that she must be having the highest reverence in the feet of God Almighty. May God bless her and bless us also, and her blessings, of course, will continue to be with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jain. So beautifully spoken. I believe that Mr. Anurag Tripathi has joined us. Dr. Sudha Acharya said to me. I would be grateful if Mr. Tripathi said a few words on Dr. Rajni Kumar. Sudha, is he there, or may I proceed? I'm afraid you're on mute, Sudha.
Ma'am, I can't see him in the list.
She's not there.
I can see him, but let me find out. You can proceed, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I now request
Amita, I'm so sorry.
I can see him.
Sorry. Yes, please, Vandana. Please.
I think mummy's having some problems. So she may not be able to speak because there is some issue with her connection
would
or
you
something.
like to say a few words?
I would.
Yeah, but I can see Usha ma'am on screen.
But
so
she's...
I would like
maybe
Vandana
audio problem. Yeah.
So thank you, Sudha. May I carry on? So I would like Vandana Chopra to say a few words. The
Chawla,
daughter,
please.
Sorry, Vandana Chawla, I beg your pardon. I always associate you with mum.
Yes.
And so thank you very much. And do say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. So, my association with Dr. Rajni Kumar probably started when I must have been in my early teens, because that's the time that I became aware that my mother had a school and that my mom always, in every conversation about starting the school, she always spoke in such glowing terms of Auntie Rajni, and the fact that it is because of her that she got into teaching as a profession, and how Dr. Rajni Kumar was her inspiration to start the New Era Public School. And I recall very fondly that Mrs. Kumar attended my wedding along with Suman's mom. And I have a beautiful picture of the three ladies, my mother, Mrs. Kumar, Suman's mother, and myself. And I hope that one day I can share it all with you. And I remember feeling so elated, so proud that these wonderful ladies had found the time to come and attend my wedding. Subsequent to that, when I entered the school and became a teacher myself, she's a person who I have always looked up to as being such a powerhouse of enthusiasm and more than anything, her affection for children. She made as a matter of fact, I think her affection for human beings, she made you feel so special. Every time I met her, she would hug me and she'd say, Vandana, I am so proud of you. Your mom is so proud of you. And I remember that would make me feel as if I was on cloud 9. And I wish to add here that one of the people that I have loved, admired, and worshipped literally has been my father, who passed away 17 years ago. And I admired his wisdom. And he always looked to Mrs. Kumar for her words of wisdom. And while he was around, I remember whenever there was a crisis in the school, and there were plenty, I can tell you that, he would be the person who would tell Mummy, Usha, I think you should call Mrs. Kumar. Let's go and meet with her. Let's hear what she has to say. I'm sure that she will give us the right advice. I wish to also say that both my children have studied at Springdale's Dholakua, and I wish to thank the Springdale family, the teachers, Jyoti Bose, and of course, Dr. Rajni Kumar for this wonderful institution. It has been a path breaker of sorts. And I know that all the hundreds and thousands of children that have passed out of the portals of Springdale's, whether Dholakua or Pusa Road, have been set on the road to happiness and success. I pray that wherever she is looking down on us benignly as usual, with that twinkle in her eye, always ready for a little samosa and a cup of tea. Thank you, and God bless ma'am wherever she is.
Thank you so much, Vandana, for that. I know that if Mrs. Kumar was listening today, she would have said, "Do not think of me and weep. I'm not there. I'm not asleep. I am in the thousands winds that blow. I am the gentle autumn's rain. I am in the quiet bird's flight. I am a soft star that shines at night. Do not think of me and cry. I am with you. I did not die." I now request Dr. Usha Ram, former principal, Lakshman Public School, and honorary member and former chairperson NPSC, who worked very closely with Mrs. Kumar for many years and was a very dear friend, to say a few words. Usha.
Thank you so much, Amita. And, actually, it's very difficult to speak now after hearing, such lovely words from our friends. But let me start. Dr. Rajni Kumar, my mentor, guide, and friend, a vibrant person with seamless enthusiasm, perennial smiles, exuberance, indeed, a great loss to the community of educators. Just to mention one, because there are so many associations and so many, areas that we were together, but my association with Dr. Rajni Kumar it goes back more than 4 decades. As a teacher in Bharati Vidya Bhavan, I used to admire her and always looking forward to come close to her and talk to her and know her more. I got a chance when I became principal of Sadhu Vaswani International School for Girls, Shantiniketan, in 1987. And it is very close to, Springdale School, Daulakua. So myself and Jyoti both would go to her and take her advice. Both were the new principals who had just taken over. And that was the time, Rajni Kumar ma'am called me, Mamta Bhatnagar ma'am, Manav Sthali, and Usha Chopra ma'am, who's here now, and New Era School, and shared her desire to do something special, for along with National Literacy Program, which was going on by the government. The seed of Delhi School Literacy Program, that is DSLP, was sown, and we all became a party. Started with 4 schools and grew, and now it's a moment to reckon with. We have more than 150 schools involved in this program, along with reading, writing, skill-based programs, cultural competitions, mobile van, and library facility in the mobile van, and then the medical facility. All that was provided in the slums. She felt they are so close to her heart. She said, let's do something else, let's do something else. I even remember before, I don't know whether Dr. Usha Chopra remembers, she would fix a hotel, a restaurant where we all 4 used to go and sit and have a cup of coffee and chat. I can't forget that. And this dream of Dr. Rajni Kumar became a reality. And I feel very proud that I'm a party to it. Instead of saying much more, I would like to say that Springdale was born with burst upon the educational scenario with vibrancy, much of the ethos and culture of the new India into its philosophy, which is followed by almost all the private schools in India. From her book, In Against the Wind, in the words of the American poet Edwin Macken, which essentially sums up Rajni ma'am's philosophy of life. Ah, great it is to believe a dream. As we stand in youth by the steady stream, but a greater thing is to fight life through and say at the end, the dream is true. And that is what I find that was the crux of the whole thing. And I still remember, even when she was not well, I used to call her up. She, oh, Usha, how are you? How are things? And how's your, because my son studied in Springdales and now my grandson, so I'm the grandmother in Springdales, Daulakua. So, her love, affection, I cannot forget that. And I love her and will keep loving her. May God give her peace and always remain with us in her and give blessings to all of us. Thank you so much, Amita, for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Usha. I know how close you were to her and how this loss has impacted you. In fact, I would like to say that I can imagine how deeply anguished Jo must be, her daughter, someone who's really looked after her with so much of care, sensitivity, and concern. And we all hoped, like Jo, that she would turn to be 100 and we would all be there together as a family to wish her. So I think we must also be with Jo in this time when she's going through so much of pain and anguish. Out of life comes death, out of death, life, out of the young, the old, and out of the old, the young, out of waking sleep, out of sleep waking. The stream of creation and dissolution never stops. These lines are from the Rig Veda. On this note, if Mr. Anurag Tripathi is present, I'd be grateful if he said a few words.
I can see
Thank
him.
you, Amita ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amita ma'am. Thanks a lot. मिसेस कुमार कुछ दिनों पहले हमारे बीच से विदा ले ली और बहुत लंबा समय रहा है दिल्ली की एजुकेशन को सेक देने में। मैंने सीबीएसई ज्वाइन किया 5 वर्ष पहले और हंड्रेड्स लोगों ने उनके बारे में, उनके कंट्रीब्यूशन के बारे में, उनके एक्सपर्टीज के बारे में, एज ए गुड ह्यूमन बीइंग उनकी पर्सनालिटी के बारे में बहुत बार चर्चा की। मुझे लगता है कि मेरे लिए अनफॉर्चुनेट पार्ट रहा कि मेरी कभी मुलाकात नहीं हो पाई और मेरी इच्छा थी उनसे मिलने की, मैंने प्रयास नहीं किया, अदरवाइज मेरी मुलाकात हो गई होती। लंबे समय से बीमार भी चल रही थी। अमिता बट्टल मैम से, सुधा आचार्य से, बाकी लोगों से बात होती रहती थी, मालूम चलता रहता था। मैंने जब सीबीएसई ज्वाइन किया मुझे ये भी मालूम चला कि देयर वर 2-3 लेडीज जिन्होंने दिल्ली की पूरी एजुकेशन सिस्टम को, पूरी शिक्षा व्यवस्था को बदल के रख दिया था, डिफरेंट तरीके से सेक दिया। और मिसेस कुमार जो इंडियन नहीं थी, जिन्होंने अपना देश, अपना सब कुछ छोड़ करके हमारे देश को चुना, हमारे देश की राजधानी को चुना, उसमें भी जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर है एजुकेशन को चुना। और शायद आप सबको मालूम है कि जब उन्होंने स्प्रिंग डेल स्कूल प्रारंभ किया तो बेसिकली रिफ्यूजी बच्चों को लेकर के स्टार्ट किया था, रिफ्यूजीज के लिए, जिनको हेल्प हो सके, जिनको कोई नहीं देखता था। और लंबी मेहनत, लंबे समय के बाद एक कार्य किया। मिसेस कुमार ने जिस समय शुरुआत की थी स्कूल्स की, उस समय किसी ने सोचा भी नहीं था कि स्कूलों का काम पढ़ाने के अलावा कुछ और होता है, क्योंकि उस समय हमारे कंट्री की लिटरेसी रेट लेस देन 30% था जब स्टार्ट हुआ। लेकिन मिसेस कुमार ने अपने टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस में, टीचर और स्टूडेंट के इंटरेक्शन में जिस तरीके से किताबों के साथ साथ स्पोर्ट्स को, आर्ट को, एक्टिविटीज को इनकलकेट किया, वो अपने आप में उस जमाने में, आज से 50 वर्ष, 40 वर्ष, 60 वर्ष पहले अपने आप में यूनिक चीज थी। आप जितने लोग आज यहाँ इकट्ठा हुए हैं, उनसे व्यक्तिगत रूप से जुड़े रहे हैं, उनसे आप लोगों ने सीखा है, समझा है, उनके साथ कार्य किया है। मेरी संवेदना आपके साथ है। मैं ईश्वर से ही प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि ईश्वर उनकी आत्मा को शांति प्रदान करें, जो परिवार के सदस्य उनको संबल दें, और आप सब जिन्होंने उनके साथ कार्य किया है, अनुभव है आपके साथ, आपको भी ताकत दें। और जो कार्य उन्होंने किया है, जो कंट्रीब्यूशन उन्होंने दिया है, जो दिल्ली या देश की शिक्षा व्यवस्था में जो परिवर्तन उन्होंने किया है, उसका सबसे अच्छा उपयोग यही है कि हम जितने लोग यहाँ जुड़े हैं, जितने लोग उनसे कनेक्टेड हैं, जितने लोग उनके प्रति संवेदनशील हैं, उन चीजों को और भी आगे बढ़ाने में अपना योगदान दें। एक छोटा सा अनुभव मैं शेयर करूंगा। अमिता बट्टल मैम आज इस पे हैं और ये घटना 5 वर्ष पुरानी है, 2017 की बात है। मैं 30 जून 2017 को एज ए सेक्रेटरी ज्वाइन किया था और बट्टल मैम से जुलाई अगस्त की फर्स्ट मुलाकात थी 17 की। और बट्टल मैम मुझसे मिलने आई और एक रिक्वेस्ट करने आई कि दुबई में स्प्रिंगडेल स्कूल ओपन हो रहा है और मेरा निवेदन है कि इसका एफिलिएशन तुरंत कर दिया जाए। मैंने कहा ठीक है। तो मैडम ने बताया कि नहीं, हमने अप्लाई फॉर द नेक्स्ट ईयर किया है लेकिन हमें इमीडिएट चाहिए। तो मैंने बोला क्यों, जल्दी क्या है? अमिताभ बट्टल ने बोला कि मिसेस कुमार जो मेरी गुरु हैं, जिन्होंने मुझे सेव दिया है, यहाँ तक पहुंचाया है, जो स्प्रिंगडेल सोसाइटी को हेड कर रही हैं, वो बीमार हैं, बहुत बीमार हैं और ऑलमोस्ट बेड रिडन हैं। और उनका सपना है कि हम एक स्कूल वहां खोल सके और मैं चाहती हूं कि जितनी जल्दी खुल जाएगा, ओपन हो जाएगा, मैं उनके उस सपने को पूरा कर सकूंगी जो उनका है। खैर वो बात आई गई हो गई और वो स्कूल महीने 2 महीने के अंदर एफिलिएट भी हो गया। जो फॉर द नेक्स्ट ईयर था, 1 साल पहले एफिलिएट हो गया। उनको पता भी चला, जाकर के डिस्कशन भी किया। बट ये मेरा पहला इंटरेक्शन था अमिताभ बट्टल मैम से, जिनके साथ मुझे पता चला कि मिसेस कुमार कोई लेडी रही जिन्होंने एजुकेशन की दुनिया में इस तरह की ऊंचाइयां हासिल की हैं। और लास्ट 5 ईयर में बहुत सारी चीजें हमने देखी, पढ़ी और सुनी। और अभी बहुत देर से मैं आप लोगों को सुन भी रहा था। मैं इस अवसर पर यही कहूंगा, मेरी संवेदना उनके साथ और जो उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन है, जो उनके कार्य हैं, उनको आप लोग जितना आगे बढ़ाएंगे, जिस तरह से लेकर के चलेंगे, ये उनके लिए सबसे बड़ा योगदान होगा। और जो उनका एम था, उनका एम कभी भी एजुकेशन को बिजनेस के रूप में आगे ले जाने का नहीं था। बहुत सिंपल, बहुत छोटे से स्तर पर फ्लैट से, घरों से उन्होंने विद्यालय प्रारंभ किया था। ये अलग बात है कि विद्यालय फ्लोरिश किया, अच्छा एस्टेब्लिशमेंट हुआ और दिल्ली के वन ऑफ द बेस्ट स्कूल में माने जाते हैं इनके दोनों तीनों स्कूल। तो मैं यही कहूंगा कि जिस तरह से उन्होंने उन बच्चों के लिए, गरीब बच्चों के लिए, और शिक्षा को किताबों की दुनिया से दूर ले जाते हुए बहुत सारी चीजों को कनेक्ट करने का प्रयास किया। हम जितना ज्यादा अपने स्कूलों में करेंगे, उनके प्रति वो सच्ची श्रद्धांजलि होगी। इन्हीं बातों के साथ मैं अपनी संवेदना और अपनी श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूँ।
Namaskar, Anurag ji, thank you so much. I now request Mrs. Indu Khetrapal, former principal, Salwan School, daughter of the Salwan family, who saw the journey of Mrs. Kumar at different stages of her life, to share some thoughts. Indu.
Pranam to everyone. Mrs. Rajni Kumar, known to many as a passionate educationist, a visionary, and a source of inspiration for others. But for me and my family, she was beyond all of the above. She was a member of the Salwan fraternity. Our association with Mrs. Kumar dates back to 1950s. My grandfather saw in her an extraordinary spark and invited her to join, at that point of time, Salwan Girls Government Senior Secondary School. She was only 26 years old. And despite the fact that at that time, the requisite qualifications that were required for a government school, she did not have. But then her indomitable spirit and optimism impelled my grandfather to look beyond rules and seek special permission from the government to appoint her. During her tenure, many eminent dignitaries, including Pandit Nehru and Dr. Rajendra Prasad, visited the school and appreciated her remarkable work. She played a big role in the expansion and growth of the schools, of the Salwan schools. She was very disciplined and she treated everyone equally. Mrs. Kumar, she met her husband, Mr. Yudhishthir Kumar, a lawyer by profession, in London. And then they got married and they came to India. She adapted and adjusted to the Indian culture and made India her home. I will also like to share an anecdote which stands testimony to the inner strength of the Iron Lady. She lost her only son at a young age. He died in the afternoon, and the same day the last rites were performed. The next day, when my grandfather went to her house to pay homage, she was not at home. He went to the school and he was astonished to see that she was working in the school. She told my grandfather that one has to move on in life. And that is why she came to the school the next day and got busy with the work. And later on, she decided to start her own chain of her own school, that is Springdale's. Now, when I completed my master's degree, my mother and myself went to meet Mrs. Kumar. I was inducted in her school instantly, and I worked in Springdale's for a year from 1978 to 79. The 1 year that I worked in that school, what I learned, what the impact was, it has helped me through. She attended my wedding, and also 25 years later, she attended my daughter's wedding. For her, relationships were very important. In the year 2018, I was then the principal of Salwan Public School, Rajendra Nagar. I invited her to the school. During her visit to the school, she was excited. She went down memory lane. She met my father, Mr. Shivdas Salwan, and they discussed and spoke about my grandfather. And she was very nostalgic and shared her experiences with everyone. In 2021, I completed my term as the principal of the school, and I called her. And because that contact was there and one could talk to her and discuss anything and everything with her, I called her and told her that I was joining the National Testing Agency. And was I doing the right thing and so on? I wanted her feedback, her opinion. And she said, as long as you're happy and prepared to add value to the organization, it is fine, move ahead. So that was important. Whatever you're doing, add value to the organization. Her words of encouragement enthused a new zeal in me as I was ready to embark upon a new journey. We receive but what we give. Mrs. Kumar laid the foundation of the Springdale's Education Society with a strong determination and fortitude. Blessed are those whose life Mrs. Kumar touched with her honesty, generosity, positivity, and simplicity. Yes, it is a sad reality. Life does not last forever, but good deeds last forever. We have our entries and we have our exits. Mrs. Kumar's contribution to the field of education, her fond memories, and her legacy will last forever. Her commendable work will continue to inspire the future generations. And truly, a life well lived is a treasure forever. Indeed, Mrs. Kumar lived a glorious life. May the Almighty bestow eternal peace to her noble soul. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Indu, for those words. Those who leave us are not in the ashes that we have immersed in the rivers and the streams. They are in the green woods. They are in the flowing water. They are hearts and minds of people who they have left behind. I now request Mrs. Sadhna Bhalla, former Principal Meera Model School and former Chairperson NPSC, whose mother was a younger colleague and friend of Mrs. Kumar. Sadhna has been a part of the journey of the evolution of Meera Model School during Mrs. Kumar's time. Sadhna, over to you.
Amita. What does one say of a phenomenal person like Padma Shri, Mrs. Rajni Kumar? Where do I begin? Just sheer respect and overarching love and admiration overtakes me for her being such an exceptional human being, so tall yet so humble. I can still remember the time when she came home to meet my mother I lost my father. Only she could have done this. I feel truly privileged and proud yet very emotional to have been given an opportunity to say what is in my heart, as well as on behalf of the NPSC. Today we are here because of one of her contributions. A multitude of thoughts race in my mind, a labyrinth of memories going back to the stories my mother narrated about her days at Salvan as a teacher under Mrs. Kumar's leadership. Vandana and I share this legacy. Our school came out of that inspiration. My husband's recollections of 1982 as a student, two stand out. One, that a class 11 student went up to Mrs. Kumar and refused to contribute 10 rupees towards a PLO movement that Springdale's at that time was supporting, giving a reason that he felt Israel should be allowed to exist. And it is only the magnanimity and her belief in freedom of speech and the fact and the respect she had for the child's opinion, even though it was differing from hers, she accepted it and allowed him the exemption. Then, of course, having exams in 1979-80 without any invigilator, instrumental music, vocal art, dance till 8 as standalone subjects to be later chosen by the children. And Amita has been a part of that legacy. Community service, hospital service, cleaning time, last 10 minutes, no sweeper was allowed to clean the classrooms, are signs of a person way beyond her times, a person who really understood education. It takes the energy, vision, dynamism, brilliance, sheer love for children, and utter compassion of Mrs. Rajni Kumar to teach the children to lead the best life and do the best work, to stand for something bigger than themselves. The adulation and immense love my son had for Auntie Kumar made it very evident. Never missing giving me a warm hug, an encouraging word and wisdom, the concern she had, wise counsel she always shared with me. I am going to always feel the warmth of her big hug. I'm sure each one of us who have known her, who have been blessed to have walked in her shadow or walked with her, present here, have beautiful anecdotes and memories to live by. A special incident which will always remain etched in my mind, when happily boating in the lake in front of Mao's home in China, when her walking stick fell in the water, and all of us present immediately without a thought lunged to get it back. After all, it was no ordinary walking stick. And here she was sitting and chuckling, wondering who's going to get it for her. She was indeed a truly phenomenal and stellar woman. Her life was an inspiring story, which you can keep going back to, for you cannot have enough of it, because she gave so much to the world, and that it cannot be complete in one read. The youngest amongst us all, more energetic than all of us put together, sharper than the youngest brain, astute, brilliant, her radiance, effervescence, infectious laughter, childlike smile, absolutely honest, direct, humble, compassionate, energy, pure intelligence, love for life and learning, lighting up the room even before she walked into it, are things which we are always going to remember her for. What do you say for this phenomenal woman who made you feel that you mattered? I thought I was her family, because that's how she made me feel. I joined the thousands of whose lives she changed, never to be the same, in celebrating and remembering a great person, a great soul, and her wisdom and urgings transformed all of us. It only takes a tough lady like her and a constant striving for excellence that she promoted to instill in you an attitude of not settling for anything but the best, to shift from the realm of the ordinary into the heights of the extraordinary, and walk among the best who have ever lived. It only takes Dr. Rajni Kumar to bring out utmost the best in each one of us, to unravel things which we are even not aware of, and to teach that no work is insignificant in the world, that all labor is a chance to express personal talents, to create your art, to realize the genius you are built to be. It only takes institutions like Springdale's NPSC Action Committee and many other institutions she was instrumental in creating to teach us all to work the way Picasso painted, with energy, devotion, passion, and excellence. that our productivity should not be just a source of inspiration for us alone, but have an impact, making a difference in the lives of all those around us. That at the end, a life beautifully lived is to do work that matters, and to ascend to such a state of mastery in that people can't even take their eyes off you. And that is what used to happen with her. She was also in the spotlight, under the spotlight, even though she was absent and physically not present in the meetings. Let us remember her wisdom. The more we work together, the better we shall be. I think this could be the mantra taking the NPSC forward. Let us celebrate her beautiful words. And I'm sure wherever she is, she must be saying something which is very apt for her. And I would just like to share this and close my words. There was a fire that burnt inside her, one that could not be put out easily. She was not afraid to speak her mind. She was the warrior we all dream of becoming. She was vivacious and determined. Nothing could stand in her way because she had the strength of 1,000,000 women. Life, like a force to be reckoned with, she was unstoppable. She faced all her problems with a brave face. She never gave up, even when the odds stacked up against her, for she knew no other way. Her soul was always warm, and her bones were made of steel. She woke up every day with only one goal in her mind: to change and make the world a better place. Her beauty and her charisma is overwhelming. Her light shone brighter than the morning sun. She was independent and hardworking, a phenomenal woman like none other. And I'm sure today we are inspired by all that she was and all that she stood for, people who had the good fortune of being with her, good fortune of not being with her. And I am privileged because we have stories over 3 generations from Mrs. Kumar's life. And yes, I agree with Amita. This is the time to stand tall with Mrs. Bose, because she has really looked after her and lived her, taken the mission forward, and is living her life ahead and leading very top institutions. I just would like to conclude with saying that wherever she is, she must be chuckling. She must have a twinkle in her eyes. She must be smiling down at us, and also taking at the same time a leaf from her favorite person, Nelson Mandela's book, where she would say, I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way, but I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are so many more hills to climb. I've taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back and the distance I have come, before looking ahead and singing and dancing and looking forward to my mission with the beautiful words of whatever will be, Ke Sara Sara, whatever will be, will be. The future is not ours to see, Ke Sara Sara, and making a difference wherever she may be. Bless her soul, she'll always be celebrated, she'll always be loved, she'll always be remembered. And that's what she was, so tall. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sadhna, for all those wonderful thoughts and meaningful words. I would just like to share with you that I had spoken to Rita Talwar, someone who used to be the principal of Cambridge School. And I think everybody here, all of us vintage, remember her. And she couldn't come on because she said she was not familiar very much with technology. But she said she wanted me to say that Mrs. Kumar impacted her life. She worked with her for a very short while as a teacher in, I think, EPN. And then, of course, she went off to Modern to teach biology. But Rita Talwar said that she had, Mrs. Kumar had a phenomenal effect on her life. I now move on, and I request Dr. Rachna Pant, Director and former Principal, Ramjas School, someone who held Mrs. Kumar in high esteem, to say a few words. Rachna?
Thank you, Amita. Now, how do I pay my respects to Dr. Rajni Kumar, a lady I admired, loved, and I respected? A life that touches others lives on forever. and Mrs. Kumar was one such lady. There are many educational fraternities, including me, and many people, including me, who owe their success at some point in time to her influence, to her inspiration, I being a very small person. She touched hearts, appealed to the head, and stayed in the hearts of all those who came in touch with her. It is not possible to articulate her knowledge, her single-minded devotion to the cause of education into just a few words, for a few experiences can only be felt. They are palpable, yet indescribable. She was like a thought, free-flowing like a river, of whom anyone could partake of. Mrs. Kumar, a lady full of life, was a visionary, a strong pillar of the NPSC, a guide, a true educationist, and above all, a charmer, a beautiful human being with an infectious smile and childlike enthusiasm. She was soft but firm and dealt with issues with an iron hand, wearing a velvet glove. My cherished moments spent with her are memories now. How can I forget the first time I met her in a school in South Delhi when she came and she talked about the literacy mission? So impressed and mesmerized was I with her powerful presence, her voice full of passion and commitment, that the very next week, I went to Springdale's in order to find out as to how should I go about implementing that project. And then, how can I ever forget the concern that she had when she found that I was in my low? Again, how can I forget that time when she welcomed me with open arms and a bouquet of flowers after my return from a short stint abroad? Or her 95th birthday lunch, where she looked as charming, as beautiful, as vibrant as when I had first seen her in the year 1990. Mrs. Kumar, she was an epitome of humaneness and an empathetic people's person. She made transformational impact in the field of education, a void I think can never be filled at all. Let us all leave in our hearts an afterglow of her mesmerizing smile. My tribute to this great educationist are in these lines by which I know she would have liked to be remembered. When I'm gone, release me, let me go. I have so many things to see and do. You mustn't tie yourself to me with too many tears, but be thankful we had so many good years. Fare thee well, ma'am. Wish we had just one more lunch to celebrate your 100th birthday. And once again, I would have told you how much I loved and respected you. Yes, dear Queen of Hearts, you have left a legacy in the hearts of people, something that can never be erased. Take eternal rest, my beautiful Queen of Hearts. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, Rachna, for those beautiful words. I remember that every birthday I would surprise Mrs. Kumar. Sometimes I would take her I put her on a horse and a carriage. Once I put her on a moped. Once she was driven by me in a vintage car. And then once I drove a motorcycle with her at the back. So she used to tell me, what are you going to do on my 100th birthday? And I said, I'm going to parachute you. So unfortunately, the free fall has not happened, but I know that it will sometime, somewhere in place. And if anyone asks, who is he who dwells in a small shrine in the forms of a small lotus flower in the center of the castle of Brahman, who we should want to find to know, perhaps it's you, Mrs. Kumar. With these words, I request Mrs. Asha Prabhakar, Principal Bal Bharti School, Noida, and Secretary NPSC, to conclude the prayer service. Asha.
Namaskar. What moves though us is a silence, a quiet sadness, a longing for one more day, one more touch. We may not understand why you left. Before we were ready to say goodbye, but little by little, we begin to remember not just that you died, but that you lived. And that's your life gave us memories too beautiful to forget. A luminary, a visionary who walked the gravel path of life with the distinguished aura of an educationist, an eminent scholar, and women of all seasons, Srimati Rajni Kumar Padma Shri was a pathbreaker and a genius in her own way. A stalwart genius of nobility and humility, an educationist par excellence, she echoes her presence through her own message to all of us. Start where you are, what you have, create something purposeful, and keep moving. Finding solace in the divine realm, Mrs. Rajni Kumar remains etched in our minds for years to come. We at NPSC wish her family immense strength and peace in life. Thank you, Mrs. Vandana Chawla, Suman ma'am, Mr. Jain, Mrs. Usha Ram, Indu ma'am, Sadhna ma'am, Rachna ma'am, Anurag sir, and Amita ma'am for your prayers and thoughts. We at NPSC deeply appreciate your expressions of tribute. She is deeply mourned by the NPSC Parivar. Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Asha, I would like to just say a few words before we conclude this prayer service. On behalf of the chairperson of the NPSC and the entire NPSC, you know my love goes with you. Your love stays with me. It's just the way life changes, like the shoreline of the sea. But let's not talk of love and change, things we can't untie. Our eyes fill with sorrow, but hey, that's no way to say goodbye. God bless you, sweet one. May you remain forever young and walk among the stars. Thank you.
Thank you.
I asked my mother, what shall I be? Shall I be handsome? Shall I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Hey, Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be, will be. The future is not ours to see. Hey, Sarah, Sarah, what will be, will be. When I grew up and fell in love, I asked my sweetheart, what lies ahead? Will there be rainbows all over the time? Here's what my sweetheart said. Here's Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be, will be. The future is not ours to see. Here's Sarah, Sarah. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what shall we be? Shall we be handsome? Shall we be rich? I tell them tenderly, hey, Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be, will be. The future is ours to see. Hey, Sarah, Sarah, what will be?